I'd welcome the three questions with. Got my friend Rebecca Sanborn with us from Sanborn Diversity Training Solutions. Good afternoon, Rebecca. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
So, Rebecca, I always love chatting with you because you teach me so much about topics that I'm not familiar with. I thought today would be a good approach to just talk about some of the reoccurring questions you get asked. So we kind of pick your top three and tell us what the questions are and how you go about answering them.
Absolutely. That sounds like a great plan. Let's do it.
What's number one?
All right. The first one is basic, but it's important. People ask me, can you define the alphabet soup? LGBTQ plus. What does that mean?
Yep.
So L, lesbian, women who are attracted to women. G, gay, an adjective used to describe a person who's attracted to members of the same gender. And some women prefer gay over lesbian. B stands for bisexual, which is where I come in. That's a person who's attracted to more than one gender, and that's sometimes shortened to bi. And the T stands for transgender, and I get a lot of questions around what does it mean to be transgender? Basically, it's an adjective, the word itself. So you would never say someone is a transgender. It's a transgender person is the terminology you'd use. But this is an adjective used to describe a person whose gender identity doesn't match the sex they were assigned at birth. Mm-hmm. So a baby's born, the birth certificate says male. And then as this baby grows up, they realize deep down inside, they know themselves to be a woman. So that would be a transgender woman or a trans woman. The Q does double duty. There's two different words that the Q can stand for. One is queer, which is kind of an umbrella term that lumps all of the identities together. Now, you and your listeners may have heard the term queer used as a slur. You might be going, why is she even saying that word? So over the past 30 years or so, the LGBTQ community has tried to reclaim that word as a thing of pride. But word to the wise, there's still a loaded history in the term that's negative. So it's best to only use it if you're self-identifying, like if I wanted to say I'm queer, or if you're quoting someone who uses that term. Otherwise, you need to be a little sensitive around it. The Q can also stand for questioning, which is a term that's used to describe someone who's in the process of discovery and exploration about their sexual orientation or their gender identity. They're not really sure yet. They're questioning who they are. And then you've got the plus sign at the end. That means that, listen, the queer community is wide and diverse. There's a rich usage of labels and identities. So the plus sign indicates that there are other identities that fall under that queer umbrella that we maybe don't talk about as often. Okay. So that's the alphabet soup in a nutshell.
Yeah, I've never heard the Q in questioning. That's brand new to me. So that was interesting. I never heard that one yet. Yeah. So what's the second thing people reach out to you about?
Second question I get a lot from people is, what's the deal with pronouns? Yes. I'm seeing pronouns everywhere, on name tags, on email signatures, on Zoom titles. What is all that about? So first, it's important to understand that everyone has pronouns that they want used to refer to themselves. In my case, my pronouns are she, her, and hers. So if you're talking about me, you might say, I have a friend named Rebecca. She's a diversity, equity, and inclusion trainer, and her business is Sanborn Diversity Training Solutions. So you just use my pronouns, she and her. And using a person's correct pronouns is a vital way to show respect and create a more inclusive environment. Now, for some people, sharing their pronouns up front is important because otherwise they might get misgendered. Take, for example, a transgender person who just transitioned to using new pronouns. They might feel the need to introduce those pronouns up front so people don't get confused. Or someone who's non-binary, which means they don't identify exclusively as male or female, often will use the pronouns they and them. So that's something that they want people to know up front. But that can be a little bit awkward, and it can kind of feel like you're singling yourself out if you're the only one sharing your pronouns. So that's why you see a lot of people like me sharing my pronouns in my email sig, on my Zoom title. If everyone gets in the habit of sharing their pronouns as a matter of respect up front, it kind of makes it mundane. And it opens the door for people to whom it's more important to share those pronouns up front.
So it really does come down to respect, because we've mentioned this before, where I'm like, I'm a man, it's he, him, so why do I need to say that? But as you mentioned, it's respect, it's helping, so that's why, I look at it going, she, her, okay, and that makes sense to me. It's a respect issue. That's why we do it.
You got it. It's a respect issue. That's exactly correct.
Yeah. I find now, Rebecca, when I'm speaking, I kind of default to they and them a lot. Because I just find that it feels safer to me, rather than make assumptions. Is that okay? I mean, if now
that is
someone because they're like, I'm a he, she, type of thing. I just, in conversation, I mean, how it happened, Rebecca, but I hear myself talking, I'm speaking about you, and I always use they or them.
That is absolutely okay. It's gender neutral. It's a good way to go if you don't know what pronouns a person uses. You can also ask somebody if you didn't know my pronouns, let's just say, I mean, you do, but you might say, hi, my name's Kevin. I use he, him pronouns. I want to be respectful. What pronouns do you use?
Yeah,
you can ask too. It's okay to ask the question.
All right, so on to the third and final one. What's next?
Okay, the final one, and I always love it when I get this question, is how can I be a supportive straight ally to the LGBTQ community? My favorite question. So I'm just going to throw out a few tips.
Yep.
First one, be open-minded, be a good listener. Follow your LGBTQ friends' lead. If you feel comfortable enough with them, ask them, hey, what can I do to support you? I want to be an ally. What can I do to support you? Don't make assumptions. Don't assume that all of your friends and coworkers are straight. They may be part of the queer community and they're waiting for an opportunity to come out to you.
Yeah.
Along those lines, never out somebody. So if a friend or a colleague does share that they're LGBTQ, be careful to clarify, oh, who else have you shared this with? Because you don't want to accidentally out someone. That's a huge no-no. And then finally, speak up against discrimination when you see it happening. Speak up against anti-LGBTQ jokes when you hear them. Even if queer people aren't around or you don't think they're around, have the initiative to speak up, because that contributes to an atmosphere of inclusion in the workplace.
That's great. So, Rebecca, if people have more questions, how do they reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can always call me. My number is 603-434-0068, or they can check out my website, which is www.sanbornsolutionsllc.com.
Rebecca, I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to come on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thanks for being my friend. My pleasure.